it's one of those sports where not many people are just innately like good at it, because it is such a foreign concept to, like, some people can have really great physical like engines, but the stroke itself is, it's very unnatural. And I'd say you have to be in some capacity athletic to kind of get what I view the most important part of the stroke is, the catch, correctly. So you have a lot of people who are not super athletic that can never grasp like how to get their blade to the water effectively. That's the most athletic. It's, I would like kind of akin it to a single hand dunk. Like you have to be in some capacity athletic to get that correct. But like I said, the coachability kind of allowed me to, go through, the novice years. And I was in our second novice boat actually to my brother. So we joined our novice team kind of roughly at the same time. And he was in our first novice eight and I was in our second novice eight. And I was like, dang it, my brother, like, I know he's older than me, but like, I want to be in that boat, blah, blah, blah. So a little bit of competitive edge to kind of like get things started. And then like, I wasn't the strongest kid out the bat, but I knew if I put in the work and put in the time, like I was going to get the result eventually and yield it. But then I guess the second part of your question was knowing like what I needed to do was develop the physiology, which I had to, work extremely hard to do. It seemed like to me, breaking 7 minutes on a 2K took so long. Just having to, go for those, like we would do a couple of 2K tests throughout the spring. And I just remember like getting 701, 7 flat, 702. And it was just this, I need to rip this. And so then I would, do extra steady state and, as my, my like horizon of the sport grew, realized I could do more and I could do more smartly. That's where I kind of was looking into the benefits of getting a heart rate monitor, because I was one of those kids where I was like, all right, I'm just going to go out and pin it every single day, get my heart rate to max. And I felt like I wasn't getting much improvement. Whereas then I started looking, oh, if you just do a little bit more at a little bit less intensity, you seem to get some more benefits. And I'm not saying like go against what your coach has you doing, but like there are ways to supplement kind of the work that you need to get done. And then I guess like throughout high school, refining and tweaking things that I felt worked for me, compared to the literature. And when I say the literature, I mean like I read 2 rowing books, and then there was like the Concept 2 Erg forum, and then rowing Reddit, and then so I was like kind of looking around and seeing like what are these resources that I could look to try and get better at what I was doing. And then one final thing I always did was I watched so much racing video on World Rowing, just heats and semis if they had them, of like the best guys. And then I would kind of like take like the little cursor and slow down the video of the guys that were winning, and being like, okay, well, where's their hand on the oar? Or, like what's their body look like as they come into the catch? And, there's a lot of ways to row effectively, but I think that I saw most technical improvements in myself when I had like that direct visual reference. And World Rowing has like this cache of just like tons of racing. And so that's something that I felt like I would sit on our like family computer, just like watching all of these races back to back to back, whether this is the Olympics, the World Cups, the World Championships. That's where I kind of felt like I could noticeably make my most like technical improvements.
And I want to dive a little bit deeper into it, because it sounds like
Sure.
like you were a real student of the sport. Like people say student of the sport, and that's probably like an easy thing for a lot of people to say, like be a student of the sport, this and that, be a student of whatever, right?
Right.
Like it sounds like you were a real, for lack of a better way to say it, like you're a real rowing nerd, right? Like you dove into the details of it, and that's awesome. Like that's and like you kind of, in many ways, and I don't know if that's something that you find that that's just you, or you probably have some teammates and some peers who are probably pretty similar.
Right.
And there probably is that certain level of technical detail that you have to kind of understand in order to kind of take that next step. And I'm curious with you, and I want to dive into, okay, now leaving high school. We'll talk about that here in a second. But describe to me, like you said that you were doing some steady state and some stuff like that on your own. Like describe to me one of those sessions. Like, did you have like a time or a routine that you stuck to? Was it more, hey, this is the workout? Like, was there like specifics to you in high school? Like, these are workouts that I'm going to do. It's like, I'm doing, 3 by 15 minutes 2 times a
Yep.
week at this, that, like, what did that look like?
It kind of started, I'd say, like after I had gone to youth nationals in my sophomore year. I was a lightweight, and I was growing, so I was like, okay, I don't know if lightweight's going to be my thing, and they were going to lower the weight from like 158 or like 159 to 149 again, and I was always around 148 at that time, and I was like, like I want to try and make that next step up. So I started eating more food, which supplemented the ability to do the like extra meters. And so I guess my junior year it'd be 2 to 3 days a week. I would do my normal like afternoon practice from, call it like 4 to 6, and I'd get home, and then like 7 or like 6:45 to like 7. Um, I would do an erg of some capacity. So whether that's just like a flat, 20 minutes, just get it done, or, 2 by 15, kind of like you mentioned. And I was doing that 2 to 3 times per week. When I was noticing those like drastic improvements in terms of like my 2K scores. So like, call it, went from 640 or like 639 to like 632, over a winter season, my junior year. And then from 32, I went to like 28 over the spring season. Those were kind of those baby steps into like what I was always under the impression that, oh, in order to get faster for 2K, you have to put on more weight and you have to get stronger in the weight room. And then I started doing the cardio and felt like, oh, wait a minute, I can just get way more gains just by holding a flat pace than learning how to sprint for 300 meters in the like closing parts of a 2K. So I'd say that kind of happened my junior year, and then like for my senior year, I wanted to obviously do the U19 national team, and so I always asked myself, all right, what are the Germans doing? Like that was my kind of like go-to motto, and you can ask like my mom that, because I would always be like, all right, mom, what are the Germans doing? And then I would do, incrementally more than I did my junior year. So, would do my normal practice, and I would come home and I would do like 40 to 60 minutes of extra work. And again, it's finding that where I can push myself, but not get so tired that I'm a complete zombie during school and then during the actual practice. And that's where like I would just put my heart rate monitor on and just hold 150 beats per minute, watch a movie. And all of a sudden it became pretty fun to do steady state when you get to like have like the movie in the background that you're looking forward to watching. One series that I remember binge watching was Breaking Bad. My senior year spring, I would only watch Breaking Bad while I was doing steady state, and the plot is extremely addicting. So I'm like, I gotta get more steady state in. So all of a sudden, this extra work became like enjoyable, right? Um, and that's kind of how you trick yourself into it so that you can continue to like maintain those progress points.